Hey guys, hope everyone is doing fantastic. So I was thinking about the Kiely Rodney case, and one sentence that Mrs. Rodney said is just reverberating through my head over and over. And that sentence was, there is honor in silence. Let's say that again. There is honor in silence. That sounds like something the mob would say, quite frankly. But it is chilling to hear it come from the mother of a deceased child who is still part of an active investigation into her death and how she ended up at the bottom of a lake after partying with friends. To paraphrase, essentially what she is saying is, if you know anything about the death of my daughter, please do not tell me or anybody else. There is honor in silence. Now, I don't know about you, but I've always taught my children since, like 5 years old, don't go around being a tattletale. But if something is unsafe, if somebody could get hurt, and obviously did get hurt, then you need to tell somebody. And here we have grown-ups with the mindset of there is honor in silence. And then we wonder why the children of this community are not coming forward with what they know. Do you believe that this woman truly feels this way, that she does not want any answers into her child's death? Or do you think that she is being silenced? Do you think that she's being pressured into silence? Remember that Sammy Smith is the daughter of two prominent and well-known people in the community. And Sammy Smith was a self-proclaimed last person, although that has now been called into question, but by Sammy's own account, she was the last person to speak to or see the victim. So I wrote some things down because unlike some of these YouTubers that seem to, remember everything they want to say, I can't do that. I have 3 sons and my mind is like all over the place. I just can't. So they own Sierra Tahoe Investigations, and their names are James E. Smith and Cindy Babby Smith. These are Sammy's parents. They are well known and highly respected in the area. Both of them have passed the California bar, and neither one have ever had any, or that I could find, have ever had any allegations of wrongdoing professionally. And it just makes you wonder, if being prominent and well-known people that seem to be well-established in the area causes a lot of pressure among some other very strange connections in the case with law enforcement and, other entities in the area. So Lindsay, she, although kind of from the area, is also not kind of a main trucky person. Her parents seem to have strong ties. When they built the Lost Trail Lodge, Lindsay didn't come to live there full time until Kiely was 10. So that's only, 6 years ago. And it's very remote. Even though it's in the area, it is very remote from in town or from the main area of Truckee. Even for the people there, it would be quite a jaunt to get up to the Lost Trail Lodge. And I think this is probably why the children were homeschooled. Well, Kiely was homeschooled through 8th grade because the area it's very isolated. We're talking in the winter time, they get like 200 feet of snow. I mean, Lindsay had wrote a post on Facebook back around the time of COVID, where it was a very long post where she was kind of telling people, if you're feeling very alone or very isolated because of COVID, these are some things that you can do to try to maintain your sanity. And she went on to describe weeks, if not months, during the winter of having to shelter in place because of the weather up there in the lodge as the innkeepers. So they were no stranger to being kind of outsiders or alone just because of where they lived. And it seems like it wasn't until Kiely got older that Kiely became, more engrossed with the other kids and the people of Truckee. She met Mags when she was 12 years old and they became instant best friends. And it was only, at high school that she really started to be mainstream schooled, although she was still in a charter school. So I'm sure it was still a much smaller school. And it just makes you wonder, a very small town like that, if being an outsider hasn't played a role in the protectiveness that some of the townspeople seem to feel for some of the main players.
Hi guys. So I got a call from my son's school and I had to end my video, and now I'm standing at the bus stop to pick up my youngest son. So try to pick up a little bit where I left off, but so I was talking about the protectiveness of the town for some of their own or their main players. And I really think that when you look at the dynamics of this town and who some of the more prominent people are, that it does give you pause as to why Lindsay may be feeling like she doesn't want to make uh, waves in this town. And I also want to bring up that immediately after this happened, she put the Lost Trail Lodge on the market. Now that could be because, she just couldn't be there with all of the memories. Or that could be because she just wants to get the hell out of Dodge, and why? Is there another reason for that? So talking about, the Smith family, again, we have Sammy, who, again, was, at least to our knowledge, one of the last people to see or talk to Kiely. Let's look at her brother, and is he also being protected? The brother of Sammy, the son of Cindy and James Smith, has 4 open cases. He has 3 open cases, 1 closed and resolved case. And they are for things like the selling of substances, for having possession of paraphernalia, and for public intoxication. And he may or may not have also been at that party. So is Sammy protecting her brother? There's just so many layers to this cake. It's almost unbelievable. But this town is no stranger to wanting to keep things quiet or being very protective of their own. I had brought up a case of a Mr. Anthony Coronado Smith, and he was very prominent also, very engaged in the town. He was the ex-president of the Youth Football Association, and he was a ski instructor. He was accused and later convicted of essay of children. And on the local Truckee pages, not the big like Justice for Kiely pages, but you know how each town has their own little page, neighborhood page, or usually they do. When this was going on with this gentleman and some people showed some outrage, there was so many people commenting like, innocent till proven guilty, and you should not be smearing this man's name on social media and all of this kind of stuff. So you saw instantly, even under the suspicion of child SA, that they were very protective of their own. And when this was going on with Kiely, both when she was still missing and later when she was recovered, and people posted on these same very local pages, it was shocking that there would only be a couple of comments. I'm also in a small rural town, but if one of our kids went missing, there would be like hundreds of shares and comments. There was really none of that. And the few comments that I read kind of made me raise an eyebrow. One person had commented before she was recovered that the kids needed to come forward and say what they knew because it was hindering the investigation. And somebody even commented, how is the kids being quiet hindering an investigation? That's the cop's job. Basically leave the kids alone. And I thought, what a weird thing to say. You know, how about encouraging these kids to come forward? We're not seeing that. So the dynamics of this town really make you ponder, make you really think about what's really behind Lindsay's behavior. I'm not saying that anybody's outright telling her to be quiet, but I wonder if she just kind of gets that sense. Because I've said before, in some of the big Finding Kiely pages, it seems like when the townspeople do come on there to talk about their own speculations, they do so anonymously, as though even they, forget the kids, even the adults don't seem to want to be associated with prying into it or asking too many questions. You know, and like I said, we have so many layers to who is connected and who is who in the story. You know, allegations of the sheriff's son potentially being at this party. And, you know, how does that play into the investigation? Because that certainly would seem like it would be a conflict of interest. So tell me your thoughts on all of it. You know, what do you think about Lindsay's comment? And do you think that this is just truly how she feels, or do you think that she's being pressured? And what do you think about her moving so abruptly out of the lodge? Do you think that it just holds too many painful memories? Because, you know, that's where she lived with Kiely, and, you know, given the dynamics of where they live, they seem to have spent an astronomical amount of time together and in the house, and maybe it's just too painful to be there. Or do you think she just wants to get the hell out of this town for other reasons? Let me know your thoughts, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.